trolled and hit up, because oftentimes for businesses, somebody might get pissed off and then they go out there and they just bad rap you completely.
Mm-hmm.
Or even a competitor can go out there and bad rap you and put all this content out there, and half the time you don't even know, because there's hundreds of sites where all that content gets aggregated across. Right. And so all that information and stuff is out there. So how do I manage it? How do I know what's going on? How do I get rid of it? All those types of things. So that was an online presence management company that came out of Direct to Care.
That is amazing too. And that was a problem way back when. And then you guys solved the problem. It's being duplicated by just about everybody. And you guys had just made some great headway on it. And of course, this will get into this leads into the Ignite Network, which leads into Think Experience. So once again, for those that joined late as well too, and give us a little detail about Ignite Network, and followed by Think Experience.
Well, Ignited goes back to the fact that we're moving away from just this broad, social media has changed dramatically now. And because the algorithms, the way Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and all those guys do it now, it's very difficult to get organic reach. They basically got everybody on there, and now they're changing the rules on everybody. So we saw this coming, that, you can't make any money on those sites because they're taking all the money.
Mm-hmm.
You're not getting, for all that content you're putting up. When was the last time you got a check? Right? Okay.
Good question. I think many of us are still waiting.
We're still waiting for that check. So we realized the idea is to move your super fans off all the major networks, and then get them onto your own platform, create value, and then you can basically charge. And we're moving into a subscription world. The main thing is like subscription. The other thing is this experience. We're moving an experience society, the conversation society, because we're now, everything is moving instead from broad to closed networks where people are smaller groups. And I call it the hive. And I believe if you want to survive as a business, you got to build a hive. And that's right. Your tribe, your group of people. So Ignited was basically that. If you think of Ignited Network, it's kind of like a cross between Instagram, Facebook Live, and Reddit,
mm-hmm.
and maybe a little bit of Slack. So we built this platform for content creators that have, a lot of social. They've got tons of followers, but they can't monetize them. The idea is you move them from there to a paid subscription service where you get premium content and actually the ability to build a relationship with your favorite artist, star, or person that you're doing. So that's what Ignited is that. And then that ties into, we realize that part of the next phase of the basically stack, because the platform we see happening now is because it's not just online, is the live. That's why we created Think Experience. And so we're creating the live part of the platform now that will connect to the audience management content platform. So we build the entire stack, basically the technology stack, the platform that would be needed for artists. And then as this gets going, we get it all rolling, we'll start inviting other artists to be able to come onto the platform and use all the entire thing. So that's kind of how it goes. It's a little complex, but hopefully it made a little bit of sense.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. In about a few years, when you start something, that will make sense in about a few years afterwards. Yep. I mean, after reading all this, back then it seems very complicated, but then it makes a lot of sense. And then when you get into your next venture, what may seem complicated now, what you just talked about, it is going to make sense. So I like how people just think far ahead and everything else, which is fantastic in society.
Yeah, we're just trying to remember. We're always trying to find a space. Where's the problem to solve,
mm-hmm.
right? And so we're seeing, like in entertainment, there needs to be reinvented the thinking,
right?
The way the business models work. It has to be a totally different game, and artists have to start thinking this way. But putting together all of these pieces is pretty complex.
Uh-huh.
And so that's what we're doing, is we're putting that together with the hope that we're going to be able to then really empower other artists to come onto our platform and use our whole stack in what we're doing.
That is amazing too. And of course, speaking of trying to solve problems, you've been involved in a number of charity fundraising, benefit events, concert recordings, and everything else. Back in 1992, you created the Grand Scientific Musical Theater Multimedia Concert. You can just tell us a little about that and some of the other fundraising you've been involved in.
Yeah. So the Grand Scientific Musical Theater is actually what I'm relaunching with Think. Did it 26 years ago. The concept of that is I'm bringing together the top leading technology companies, technologists, minds marrying them sort of with Hollywood entertainment. And so that was a show we did 26 years ago. It was in at the Thomas Mack Arena in during a big trade show called Comdex, which was prior to the Consumer Electronics Show. We had 16,000 people showed up, and we had basically all the latest technologies, such as the very first 3D audio, immersive audio experience in an arena, the first circular video walls. We had the first talking 3D real-time head, who was being voiced by a comedian by the name of Charles Fleischer, who was the voice of Roger Rabbit, to host the show. And we had, everybody that was on the show. We had Cirque du Soleil, Graham Nash, Tower of Power, John Entwistle from The Who, John Anderson from Yes, Nevada Symphony Orchestra. We had cyber bands. It was this giant variety show that we did. And the idea was we did that to raise money for the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children. We raised $1 million for them that night. And so I'm relaunching that with Think. So I'm bringing all the latest technology companies together to create these new immersive experiences. And that's kind of the idea of what the GSMT, the Grand Central Music Theater, was all about.
That is so amazing, too. And, of course, not only do all that, you're also a guest lecturer, and you also teach at USC, Thornton School of Music. You're also on a radio program called Business Rockstars. You also won quite a number of awards as well, too. You can just tell us a little bit about that.
Gee whiz, you're asking me all these questions. I don't like talking about myself, but I'll do it again. I taught that planned space. I did a handful of lectures out there, and they asked me to come teach it. So I did one semester. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough time to continue on, but I did one semester, which I taught out there. So it was really fun being a professor. That was something that was definitely different. Let me see. So you asked me about USC. What else did you ask me about?
Being in the Thornton School of Music, like a professor, like you teach.
Oh yeah, sorry. So yeah, it was fun. Teaching artists how to be a business, because that's what I believe. You want to be in the game today as an artist. You have to be a business. You got to take business and make that as much as art as the actual art, and combine them together so you can really actually figure out how to find customers and make money at what you're doing. As far as, I've been pretty lucky. As far as, kind of awards, I've been a songwriter. I had almost had a number one. I had a number two hit, but, wrote songs, and it was nominated for the Duet of the Year. So I had songwriting history and loved that. Been, obviously guest lecturing at a lot of things. I sit on panels. I work at, I do conferences all the time. Just got back from Social Media World, was there for that. And, I got a few awards. I guess my favorite one, this is a funny story, was Buzz Magazine considered me one of the top coolest people in Los Angeles, right? And so I'm driving down the street one day in my car, and I got the radio on, and this guy comes up, okay, Buzz Magazine just put out their top, 100 or top, coolest people in Los Angeles. And he jumps in. Well, there's this guy, Scott Page, this kind of old has-been.
Has what?
No, it was so funny because, I was a rocker at the time, but I'm doing this tech stuff and everything. But it was so funny to hear about how he kind of coined me in this whole thing. But yeah, it's been fun. I love business. And again, I just like it all. I just enjoy the ride. I like getting up and go to work every day.
It sounds like you're really enjoying the ride. And did you say getting up for work, not play? I thought work was not in your vocabulary. I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, if you find something you enjoy, it's really not work. Although I would say it ain't easy having this much fun sometimes. But yeah, no, that's critical. And I'm the biggest believer in. I guess it became clear to me one day that I finally had that realization that the only thing that's real is you and me talking right now. Everything else is an illusion. 5 minutes ago is a mentation. It's something I think in my head, and 5 minutes from now is something I can think. And so really, once I grasp the reality that the only thing that really matters is the step that I'm taking right now, that all I do is I don't care about outcomes. All I care about is the step that I'm taking, the journey that I'm going. And because of that, it's changed my life dramatically, because now I don't try to create goals that are so, I put a goal, but if I reach it, fine. If I don't, I don't. It's just, what's the ride? So when you say work, you're absolutely right. I don't feel like I've ever worked a day in my life. And that's the honest to God truth, is because I get up every day and I do something that I love. Now, it's not easy all the time, and I've gotten pounded a lot, and it's been painful at times, but at the end of the day, it always seems to work out no matter what. And I'm telling you, everybody out there, don't worry about the outcome. Just worry about what you're doing right now. Take care of the space that surrounds you at this very freaking moment, and your life will be extraordinary.
That's right, too. And, of course, I guess the thing that kind of comes out, it says it used to be a long time ago, is it live or is it Memorex? And nowadays it's like, is this conversation or program live or is it AI? I guess that's a question. So.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're seeing more and more of that. I mean, when you start talking about AI, it's going to be, you just think this next presidential election will be one of the most mind-boggling, insane things you've ever seen. Because right now, you got technologists building up for that right now. So you've got AI that's going to step in. And I don't know if you've seen some of those things where they can take a video and then they can kind of replace that person to say whatever they want to say.
Mm-hmm.
And you think it's that actual person. I mean, it's hard to almost tell that it's fake. So you talk about fake news and fake things. And get ready, boys and girls. It's about to get really wild out there in the next few years.
Oh,
but
my
it's
God.
a fun ride. Let's just watch it all go, and we're going to see how we do as humans if we can handle all this. It'll be interesting.
I think it does sound like a fun ride, and this kind of just rang through my head. I'm a big Mel Brooks fan and watched Spaceballs quite a few times, and there was a scene on there where it's like you could actually they record you what you're going to say 5 or 10 seconds ahead, and I thought about it. It's like they do this, do that, and it's like, did I say that? It's like, I didn't know I was going to say that 10 seconds ago. Do you think that technology is going to be coming very soon, or you think it is about to take place?
I'm sorry. Say that. What's coming? What's coming?
No, I'm talking about there was a scene in Mel Brooks Spaceballs where it's like they got it's kind of like a funny thing where it's like, they record something where it's like it's going to be like 10 seconds or 15 seconds ahead of what you're going to do. And they look at it's just like, I was about to do that 10 seconds ago.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if you've seen the movie or you get what I'm talking about. It just made me think of it. So.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't see that. So that's why I wasn't quite catching you there. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Good question. I mean, who knows? I mean, tech is moving so fast. And again, the AI, and now you're looking at quantum computing, and that's the big one. Because once quantum computing comes on, it's a whole nother game. Because, computing is usually, it's two things. It's either on or off, if, then, or else, right? It's either on or it's off. Quantum computing starts putting maybe into the thing. So not just if, then, else. It's if, then, else, maybe. And once maybe starts getting in there into the computing, it starts going, oh, okay, let's see. Well, what's the chances it could be this, right? So now it starts bringing more conscious, more of a mind thing, like more like people think. So, yeah, like I said, get ready, folks. It's about to get really crazy over the next 5 years. There's no question.
And I'm already strapped in, too, by the way. And, of course, of all the things you have done here, since we got a few minutes, we know you're a busy guy, but you're a joy to chat with. What do you consider your most favorite projects, and what is the most challenging?
What is the most favorable project?
Your most favorite project, and what do you consider the most challenging?
Gosh, I mean, it's hard to say favorite project because during projects, they're all your favorite at that time. I think, I mean, I got so many things that I've done that I've been very, I'm very proud of that I had. They were fun. But right now, I think my favorite project is the one I'm doing now, Think Experience, because we're getting to pioneer a whole new space and it's happening right now. And, strong signals that it's the right thing. So I'm very excited about that. So that's kind of my favorite thing right now. It's hard to say other projects. I mean, again, obviously playing with Pink Floyd was incredible as far as being on that. Creating projects, obviously doing that first interactive cartoon was a big deal in my life because it was, nobody was able to do that kind of stuff then. And with our engineers and the brains that we were able to put together, we were able to solve some problems there. So I think those are, that for now is kind of my favorite one that's going on is what we're doing with Think.
That is amazing, too. And who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
Oh, that's interesting. I've got a handful of interesting influences, and they're probably not people that you would know. They're people that have been touched my life. My composing and arranging teacher, a gentleman by the name of Lyle Spud Murphy, taught a whole system called the 12-tone system. So it was an equal interval system I studied for composing and arranging. He was interesting because he really taught me, it wasn't so much about the writing of the music, but really just a way to look at life, which was good. The other one was Ted Green, the incredible guitar teacher who had passed away, but